So it's been a super awesome trail on the way up. Pretty rocky at this last little section, but now just these incredible views of the glacier and the mountain. Spectacular. So I'm in Chamonix in France. It's the first week back to training since Eiger 101 last weekend. Legs are feeling pretty strong. I've had some good runs this past week and enjoying the climbing, certainly enjoying the trails here and the great community of runners that are here in the summer, and there's always someone to train with, and I'm really excited for the races ahead. These glaciers are just spectacular, unreal, so beautiful. So I'm going to do a bit of a Q&A for you guys now. What I really want to do on this channel is always help you guys out, give you the content that you want to see. So I always ask for questions, ideas, videos that aspects of my training maybe that I haven't covered in the past that maybe you guys are interested in, maybe might help you guys in training for your races, or maybe if you are even training for CCC or any of the UTMB races, maybe you might want to see a bit more of the trails here. So leave those questions down below, guys, but right now I'm going to get into a Q&A with some of the questions off my last video, which I did in the lead up training for Eiger. So if you haven't watched those videos, go back and check those out. Do you stretch and use a foam roller after every run? After harder sessions, for sure, I'll definitely do some stretching, some foam rolling. If you're working your body, your muscles hard, and you know you're doing those kind of sessions which are really kind of breaking you down that little bit, causing that little bit of tightness and fatigue, and foam rolling, stretching is always something I'll do either afterwards or later in the day, maybe in the evening if I've done a harder session in the morning. So it's a good routine to get into, but after every single run, not typically. If I'm done a nice easy run, it's not something that I'll complement every single run with, but maybe for you, you might find that useful to do. What's your take on fasting and skipping the breakfast before runs in the morning, even workouts if they are early in the morning? Before my runs in the morning, maybe if I'm going out for a longer run, maybe I'll have something light, maybe some fruit, some bananas maybe. Obviously take some bits and pieces with me there to help me keep energized throughout the run. But if it is just a short, easy, normal run, then maybe just an easy hour. Maybe I'll go out completely fasted, won't have anything at all, maybe just some glass of water to make sure I'm hydrated before heading out the door. I don't think it's an issue going out like that. If you're new to it and you're new to exercising fasted, maybe you're used to just getting up and having a big breakfast before you do anything with your day, then it might take a little bit of a while for you to get used to that, that feeling of not having anything in your body and trying to get out and get exercising. If you're trying to do a harder, faster workout first thing in the morning, some people find a bit of trouble with that. But again, if you're putting these kind of stresses, these kind of demands on your body's an incredible machine and it will adapt, and you can have some great results out of that. So yeah, try some new things, guys, but take it easy, take it slow. If you're new to going out the door, like I said, new to getting out the door without having breakfast and going out training, just take it slow. Maybe do a shorter run to start with, don't push it hard, and make sure you are replenishing yourself after the run. How much water is possible for one race? For the 35 kilometers, I needed 4 liters. I'm not entirely sure how much I did drink throughout the day. I had the 2 350ml flasks with me, and I mentioned in my last video about gear. So I was carrying around 700 mils of water at any one time when I left an aid station, but I was certainly filling up pretty frequently at all the aid stations for the most part, except for the really early ones early in the race. And there was a few smaller water stations throughout the course I was filling up with as well. So I definitely lost count of how much I did drink within the race. Typically, I'm always focusing on just drinking to first, making sure I am staying well hydrated and making sure I'm being prepared going into the race and knowing where those aid stations are or how far apart they are, so that I need to know if I need to fill up within one aid station, if I've got a big gap between the aid stations where maybe it's going to be exposed, or it's the middle of the day where it's going to be hot and you're going to be sweating a lot and you're going to be needing to drink a little bit more water then. Yeah, you know, people do drink a lot throughout ultra races, throughout these long trail races, especially in the mountains in the summertime as well. Everyone's different though. Some people need a lot more than others, and there is a problem if you're overhydrating, having too much. So drink to first, keep an eye on your electrolytes, keep an eye on your pee. You know, are you peeing? Is it clear? And really think about this after the race as well, especially if you've done an ultra. It's a lot of demands on the body, a lot of demands on the kidneys, and you need to look after yourself and make sure that the body's functions are working well, and look out for any swelling in your hands and your knuckles or your feet or anything like that, and make sure your body's processing fluids well again. There's a number of calories you consume at sea level, vary at altitude. I feel the food digestion seems to be slow for me at altitude, so I try and consume smaller quantities more frequently, although the total amount of calories is the same. Would love to know your thoughts on this. So for myself, This summer I just did Eiger 101. There was a fair amount of altitude there, but for myself, I've never found that I've been racing anywhere high enough for it to be a big problem with consuming calories. Within my races, within ultra races, I'm typically relying on liquid calories, gels, maybe just some soft fruits like bananas or some dried fruits there. So I'm never really putting anything too complicated into my stomach for it to digest. For sure, if I'm doing longer ultras later in the race, then sometimes I will rely on some heavier food, so maybe some bars, maybe some breads or anything like that. But yeah, if you are at altitude, it is more difficult for your stomach to digest these foods. It's having to work, your body's having to work a lot harder in general because of the lack of oxygen. So a lot less blood within your stomach to process foods, process calories. So for sure, what you're doing already, take it in small amounts more often, it's definitely going to be really beneficial for you. And it's certainly beneficial anyway within ultra running. Try not to take in massive amounts of food at any one time in one go. It's going to be difficult for you to digest. So taking in small pieces frequently is something I would always recommend to people, and just keeping it simple. Okay, and the last question now, guys, what length poles do you use? Again, this is individual to the person. I use 120 centimeters myself. I am toying with the idea of maybe moving down to 115 centimeter poles if I'm focusing in on vertical, steeper races. Everyone's different. It really depends on your height, the size of you. You want to make sure basically that your poles, when you're standing straight, your arms at a 90-degree angle. Some people prefer a little bit more than this. Like I said, if you're really focusing on steeper races, then you have less of an angle to bring the poles up before you push back off. It really depends on yourself and your own pole technique. I'd recommend, if you're buying poles, maybe getting to a local store to try them out, or at least try out the height with maybe a different brand than the one that maybe you're going for, just to have a feel for how it feels and if it feels comfortable for you. Most poles these days come in with a great range of sizes for everyone's height range, and it really is specific to the runner themselves. But generally, as a rule of thumb, when you're standing still and you've got the poles on the ground, you're looking for that kind of 90-degree angle with your arms. But as I said, some people prefer a pole that's slightly shorter, some people might even prefer a pole where maybe it's a little bit longer. Just depends on the athlete themselves. And yeah, definitely practice with your poles before the race. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I'm just walking around Chamonix, chilling out at the moment in this little park. There has been a little bit of background noise, so I hope that hasn't been too much of a problem for you guys. And yeah, let me know what you want to see out of these videos this summer that I'll be making while I'm in Chamonix training for CCC. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying these videos. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and happy running.